qué cosas tiene la vida. Me tocó verte partir
cuando menos lo esperaba, cuando te veía sonreír,
ganador de 1000 batallas, un verdadero guerrero,
excelente ser humano. Ante usted me quito el sombrero y hoy alzo mi voz, aunque no tenga fuerzas. Hoy alzo mi voz, aunque no tenga palabras. Hoy alzo mi voz al viento, dejando saber mis sentimientos. Y hoy alzo mi voz, aunque no tenga fuerzas. Hoy alzo mi voz, aunque no tenga palabras. Hoy alzo mi voz al viento, dejando saber mis sentimientos.
y aunque estás en mejor vida, tu bella alma hoy descansa.
Pero tu memoria nunca de mi vida será borrada. Y hoy alzo mi voz, aunque no tenga fuerzas. Hoy alzo mi voz, aunque no tenga palabras. Hoy alzo mi voz al viento, dejando saber mis sentimientos. Y hoy alzo mi voz, aunque no tenga fuerzas. Hoy alzo mi voz, aunque no tenga palabras. Hoy alzo mi voz al viento, dejando saber.
Tonight on CTV3 News, more than 10,000 Belizeans traveled over to Mexico during the Easter break. Mexico's anti-inflation campaign. We'll tell you what Belize has to offer and to gain. 2 men charged for the murder of William Maxwell Smith. And hundreds of teachers descend upon Orange Walk as the BNTU holds its 2 days national convention. These are some of the stories we have for you tonight in our newscast for Wednesday, April 12th, 2023.
That'll be $50. Thank you. Wait, hey, this 50 is a fake.
How do you know it's a fake?
What are you talking about, sir? How can I identify a genuine note from a fake note?
Well, a genuine 50 has a watermark with the jaguar and the written words of the 50, also a thread.
Know your money and know a fake one when you see it. Do not rely on any one security feature. Look for the clarity and quality of printing. The printed lines and colors should be sharp and clear. Feel the quality of the paper and the raised print. Hold the note up to the light to see the windowed security thread. It should form one complete line when held up to the light. The watermark and denominational electrotype. The Jaguar is the watermark in the $100 and $50 notes. The Sleeping Giant is the watermark in the $20, $10, $5, and $2 notes. The see-through feature. The parts of the design printed on the back should fit exactly within the unprinted areas of the front to form the complete design. Check the $100 note for the toucan hologram with the periwinkle flower overprint. Tilt it to see the small images of the toucan and the numeral 100. Check the $50 note for the green foil angelfish. Check even closer. Use an ultraviolet light to see the fluorescent features. Use a magnifier to see the microlettering. Tiny letters that read Central Bank of Belize and the value of the note. Stop the circulation of counterfeit Belize currency notes. Pass all counterfeits to the police at once. It is a criminal offense to hold or use a counterfeit. Be safe, be sure, know your money.
Good evening with your news. Also simulcast on Fiesta FM 106.7. I am Joanna Rodriguez. Yesterday we told you about the newly implemented Mexican immigration regulations, which requires Belizeans wanting to spend more than a day in Mexico to show proof of hotel reservations. Belize's honorary consul in Chetumal, Dr. Luis Maldonado, confirmed the change, adding that it is reportedly being implemented by Mexican immigration as a measure to tackle the influx of persons using Mexico as a transit point to the USA. Today, our news team spoke to Belize's ambassador to Mexico, His Excellency Oscar Arnold, who says they are currently looking into the new change and what effects, if any, it may pose to Belizean travelers.
We became aware of that situation on various social media posts that were done. We have not received anything official yet from the immigration authorities or from any foreign affairs officer in their ministry. What I am being told is that the head of that immigration for that state unit in Quintana Roo has made that decision. We're trying to confirm officially whether that is true or not. I did reach out to a few people I knew who were traveling over the Easter weekend. A few people confirmed that they were asked, but that they said that they were going to find a hotel while they travel across the border, and they didn't have any issues. Other people mentioned to me that they weren't asked. However, reports reaching, I guess, your newsroom is that some people have been told this. Our consul in Quintana Roo, who is based in Chetumal, has confirmed that an immigration officer verbally has told him that it's for anyone traveling outside the state of Quintana Roo, which complicates matters even worse, because now we were hearing at first that it was only in Quintana Roo, and now we're hearing that it's outside of Quintana Roo. And we understand that there's been quite a few migrants who have been traveling through the northern border and then heading to the US border illegally. So I don't know if this was born out of an abundance of caution by the immigration authorities there at the northern border, but we don't have anything official as yet to say that this is something that they're holding travelers hard and fast.
Until the embassy is able to ascertain the exact details behind the newly effected change, Ambassador Arnold says Belizeans should be prepared when planning to travel.
There are two types of documents that are used to cross the border there. One can use their passport, or one can use the border cards that were issued. I am being told that, and again, I hate to provide secondhand information because I try to work inside officialdom, that once they provide or they show their border card, they're giving a lot more leniency. You can just go ahead and cross, and you don't have to go and wait in line and have your passport viewed and then stamped. So again, we are not certain as to the enhanced due diligence that they are doing there at that border crossing. I reached out to the Mexican ambassador in Belize, and she's also trying to get some information on this for us, because we do know that quite a few Belizeans, this is the time of year, this is when the weather is best to travel all the way up the Riviera Maya. And so we know that a lot of Belizeans travel, and especially on weekends, they go to Chetumal to do some shopping or just to relax. And so this is something that we're trying to get to the bottom of. I haven't heard of any huge problem over the Easter weekend, which I think we would have seen between 10 to 14,000 Belizeans cross going into Mexico and then cross back over into Belize. We haven't been appraised, or we haven't received any major incidents. And so I'm hoping that all is, if not normal, is civil at the border crossing.
Now, while the new regulations did catch many travelers by surprise over the weekend, Ambassador Arnold says that there are no reports of major conflicts at the border thus far, even with more than 15,000 Belizeans making their way across the border this weekend.
I was sent a few videos and photos and anecdotal evidence which would suggest that it's in excess of 15,000, but we are awaiting that numbers. I've asked the Mexican immigration to provide that number for us. The Belizean immigration will also provide for us that and give us an indication, but remember, they also track individuals who go to the free zone. And so we're trying to segregate the data and to have a real number to show what the impact is. I know that the hoteliers in Chetumal will not be super happy about this, and I have already heard that they've requested a meeting to discuss this issue if in fact the immigration authorities will stick to this hard and fast rule of having a hotel reservation prior to travel, because we know that at that border area, the practice is you go across and then you find your accommodations.
Just before the long Easter weekend, Prime Minister John Briceño attended an anti-inflation and food security summit led by Mexican President Andrés Manuel López Obrador. During the summit, Prime Minister John Briceño addressed the various heads of government who were present at the top-level diplomatic conference. In his speech, PM Briceño spoke of the devastating impact of inflation as, quote, arguably the greatest challenge facing our region today, one that can only be overcome when like-minded and progressive leaders work together, end quote. Being invited to participate in this important regional effort, according to Belize's ambassador to Mexico, His Excellency Oscar Arnold, allows our country the opportunity to engage with the regional partners in a way forward to help reduce the devastating effects of inflation.
The idea was that they would try to get these group of nations together, the leaders, to discuss what can be done to reduce the cost of the basic food basket, because that affects everyone. Rice, eggs, beans, vegetables, fruits, basic food items. And so for us, it was a privilege and an honor, because now Belize sits at the table with these other countries, Argentina, Colombia, Mexico, a couple of the other big countries in South America and a few in Central America, to discuss and to trade. Because a big part of that discussion has to deal with, okay, what can countries provide to the region that you are already producing at reasonable cost if we look at reducing or taking away tariffs and other tax barriers. And so that is what the crux, and that is what the meat of the discussion formed or was a part of. It's an opportunity again for Belize to form trading partners with countries that we may have limited or no trading with at this point in time, at a very fast or at a very enhanced pace, because this is something that the leaders of all the countries said that they don't want to just come out of that meeting with a declaration, but they want to come out with some solutions and some solid, concrete plans on how we can reduce the inflation on some of these items and the cost on some of these items, because when you speak to analysts or you read reports, they're saying that we won't see a reprieve, we won't see a relief in the inflationary cost for over another year, a year and a half. And you know that prices in Belize on commodities keep going up. So if we can try to, if there's any initiative to try to keep down the cost of the basic food items, that is something that I believe that the Prime Minister and the government wants to be a part of as well.
As a country whose economic growth continues to show positive trends over the past few years, Ambassador Arnold says Belize is now in a position to extend its export market within the region.
The profile of Belize has skyrocketed over the last 2 years. We've reduced our national debt almost by half. The growth in our economy over the last year, I believe, came in at around 12 to 14%. And so many other countries are looking at Belize to see what were some of the macroeconomic policies that were implemented to gain these benefits. And so one, right offhand, Belize has been selling cattle and more cattle to Mexico than it has ever done before. Guatemala is also interested, and I understand that there is a flow of cattle also across the Guatemalan border. The Mexicans and other countries are also interested in soybeans, in other types of beans, and other agricultural products. I know that there has been some talks, or there are in discussions, the millers at ASR and the cane farmers up north, and to trying to find an agreement. This may be another possibility where additional sugar, if there is a surplus, can be sold to these markets. And so that is the type of things that Belize bring to the table. We are well respected regionally for what we've done coming out of the pandemic. Many countries did not have the level of vaccination that we did, and with the tourism industry, with the agricultural industry, and the entire turnaround that we experienced over the last 2 years, countries are interested to see if they can adopt or implement some of the policies that the government of Belize has done over the past 2 years. They have offered, and they have offered Belize individually when the PM met with President Maduro, that they want to restart and as quick as they can amp up their production of fuel to restart the Petrocaribe project. They've also put that on the table as an option in the group of countries at this summit. So that is something that's always on the table. I know that fuel affects everything: transportation, tourism, the delivery of food items, the production of agriculture. And so if there is a deal to be had, if there is some relief to be gotten, I believe that PM Briceño, along with his other cabinet ministers, will be looking at that as well.
Ernest Thompson, 59, of Santa Elena Town, and Isaiah Azueta, 26, of San Ignacio Town, have been jointly charged with the murder of William Maxwell Smith, a retiree of Tres Puntas, San Ignacio Town, during a home invasion on Easter Sunday, April 9th. Thompson and Azueta have also been jointly charged with aggravated burglary, dangerous harm, and 2 counts of robbery. Thompson, also known as Florencio Talbert, was separately charged with attempted murder, keeping firearms and ammunition without a gun license, and handling stolen goods, while Azueta was hit with additional firearm and ammunition charges. William Maxwell Smith returned to Belize in February and was here to oversee the construction of a resort in the Contiki area, where he also resided. On the morning of April 9th, a pair of thieves entered Smith's sprawling compound and proceeded to burglarize his home. During the incident, multiple shots were fired, resulting in one of the intruders being injured and Smith being mortally wounded. The other was injured in a shootout with police. The family of Jamilexi Herrera remains concerned about her whereabouts. The 14-year-old was reported missing on Monday, April 3rd, and has not been seen or heard from since. The Orange Walk resident is described as being of clear complexion, slim built, has long black hair, and is about 5 feet in height. The last time she was seen, Jamilexi Herrera was wearing short blue jeans pants, a blue blouse, and pink slippers. Anyone knowing Herrera's whereabouts is asked to contact the nearest police station. Hundreds of teachers from across the country gathered today at the Muffles College Auditorium here in Orange Walk Town, where day one of the annual Belize National Teachers Union Convention got underway this morning. The two-day event kicked off with teachers taking part in various union activities, including presentations by various entities, including the Income Tax Department and the Social Security. Secretary of BNTU Orange Walk, Miriam Pass, today told us more about the day's events.
We started our convention with a motorcade. We began at the runabout where we have the Welcome to Orange Walk sign. We have 10 branches. We have representation from the 10 branches across the country. We had a good turnout. I was really happy to see all our teachers here. You know, it's a very important event for us as teachers, for our union. So I can tell you that we had a nice turnout today. We had stalls. It's like a little expo. The majority of the stalls are from teachers, members of BNTU. We also had Oceana, Belize Bank, and other businesses that cater to teachers. They were here to support us as well. No, we had Atlantic Bank, the different banks. So I think in regards to teachers turnout, we had a nice turnout. So I'm really happy that everyone decided to show up. You know, normally we have like a little low turnout because it's right after Easter. So we were really a bit concerned about it, but thank God everyone showed up and we're happy to have a good turnout. It's very important for our members to be aware of the things that affect us, right? So we're having presentations on pension, the pension scheme. We're having presentations by income tax. Right now, at this very moment, we have income tax doing a presentation. You know, a lot of teachers, you know, sometimes forget to file, guilty of that. And we all know that income tax charges you interest, but if they owe you, they don't pay you for interest, right? We cannot charge them. So it's very important for teachers to, you know, to have all their papers in order so that they don't end up owing income tax. So we're having presentations by Social Security as well, very informative sessions.
Today's agenda also included discussions on various ongoing union matters, including the upcoming change in the pension scheme in our country and how it will affect members of the union.
One of the main topics that we are discussing right now is the pension scheme that is about to be, you know, changes are being made. So that is one of the main topics that we're discussing and is in discussion at the moment. So besides that, you know, we have election day coming tomorrow, very important day. We are about to select our next new national president. Right, we have a new, well, our treasurer, the treasurer right now, the present treasurer will remain. No one, you know, she can run another term, and there was no one to challenge her position, but we will be having the national president, vice president, and national secretary. So those are the 3 posts available, and tomorrow should be an exciting day.
To wrap up today's event, BNTU Orange Walk is inviting Orange Walkenians to come out tonight and support their fundraising event being hosted at High Five Nightclub starting at 8 p.m.
Our Orange Walk branch is hosting all the 10 branches across the country. So we have planned, you know, activities throughout the day. After our main presentations for today, we're going to have a volleyball tournament where the different branches will be competing against each other. I hope Orange Walk wins, you know, and represent well. We're also going to be having a teacher's fete tonight, and the public is invited to come out. It's our fundraising activity. So guys, come out, support us. The activity will take place at High Five, and TLC band will be playing. So come out, everyone is invited. You guys, we're going to be charging $15 at the entrance. $15, members and non-members, you're all welcome to come and support us, you know, support your Orange Walk branch.
Of note is that tomorrow the BNTU will be voting to elect a new national executive, including the post of national president. Senator Elena Smith has served as president of the BNTU for 3 terms and is no longer eligible to hold the position. With the union's presidency up for grabs, the two long-standing union members have put forward their names: Leah Ruth Schumann from Corozal and Ifasina Efunemi from the Stan Creek district, who will have coverage of the election in Thursday's newscast. 3 years after being first found guilty in her courtroom in Salt Lake City, Utah, Bloomberg reported United States District Judge Jill Parrish handed down a 40-year prison sentence to 56-year-old Levon Termindizian, alias Lev Aslan Derman, Armenian-American businessman, in a trial that was closely watched in Belize because of ties to local politicians. During the middle of the trial in February 2020, one of the co-accused turned cooperating witness, Jacob Kingston, had in open court implicated John Saldivar, then aspiring to be the leader of the United Democratic Party, of receiving funds directly from him in Miami, $25,000 to be exact. After initially denying it, Saldivar said the funds were campaign finance which he used for sporting projects in his constituency of Belmopan. As we have reported, U.S. media alleged that German and Kingston befriended persons like Saldivar as part of a global money laundering scheme to wash the profits of their renewable energy tax credits as bribes to politicians, as well as buying various property in the U.S., Turkey, and Belize, where a parcel of land was purchased in order to build a casino. The men each visited Belize several times and once rode a Boston whaler gifted to Belize from the U.S. Coast Guard on a visit to Hunting Key. The case was one of the most egregious examples of tax fraud in U.S. history, Albert Childress, who runs the Internal Revenue Service office in Phoenix, said in a statement. Jacob pleaded guilty in 2019, as did his brother Isaiah, his mother Rachel, and his wife Sally. Jacob was sentenced this week to 18 years in prison. Isaiah got 12 years, Rachel was sentenced to 7 years, and Sally got 6 years. The Kingstons are members of the Order, the largest Mormon polygamist clan in the U.S. Authorities say it's an organized crime group with 10,000 members that controls more than 100 businesses in the West. Derman, who maintains his innocence, had sought a sentence of time served. He will likely appeal. Several other associates were either already in prison or await trial for their part in the scheme. Coming up next, free haircuts for students as they prepare to go back to the classroom. Stay tuned.
Come on!
When hungry or craving, when laughter or tears, enjoy the best snacking where flavors are here. Asadas, bocadas, chiladas, doradas, delicious for snacking, done right and done here.
Done right, done here.
Indulge the flavor. Go beyond meat. Looks like meat. Tastes like meat. But it's better than meat. 100% plant-based. Rich in protein, 50% less saturated fat, no GMOs, no added soy, packed with benefits and sustainable. Beyond meat, good for you, good for the environment. Now available in 6 different types of products in Belize. Beyond burger, beyond sausage, beyond beef, beyond chicken nuggets, beyond chicken tenders, beyond steak, beyond meat, distributed by United Distributors Limited.
Tonight, the Belize Police Department and the Minister of Home Affairs, Kareem Musa, continue to mourn the untimely passing of Fitzroy Adson Earwood, Assistant Superintendent of Police. At the age of 47, ASP Earwood died following complications from a stroke on Tuesday afternoon. He was most recently Communications Director for the department and the face of weekly press briefings and activities hosted by the department for the past 3 years of a lengthy career in the force. Today, as more Belizeans sent out condolences to the family and friends of the cop, Commissioner of Police Chester Williams spoke about the impact Earwood had on the department over the course of his career.
Still unbelievable, I must say. Fitzroy and I go many, many years back from when I was in charge of CIU. He worked with me there, and from then we developed a friendship, and one that I can say was built on mutual trust and respect for each other. When I went away to law school, we lost communication with each other, and when I came back, we reconnected. And again, he was always one of my biggest supporter. When I became the Commissioner of Police, I saw the need to have someone who can be a good intermediary between the police and the media, and I could not have thought of anyone better than Fitzroy. He have that charisma, that touch that the media loved about him. I know at times, yes, you have your differences, like with any other relationship. You do have your differences at times, but he was always one who was always willing to facilitate the media. Sometimes I would see even late at night when something would happen, he would post on the media blog and brief you all. And sometimes I would call him and say, "But Fitzroy, why you brief the media this hour at night? Leave that for tomorrow." He said, "But I just want me to know what happened." And he said, "Okay, Fitzroy, no problem." But that was the type of person that he was. He truly took his job as the PR officer very, very seriously. He did it with a passion. And what many didn't know is that all the time he spent communicating with the media using phone, it was his personal phone, his personal credit card. The government did not provide for him data or a phone number. He used his personal phone and data to ensure that the media was briefed. So that goes to show the level of dedication and commitment he had to doing his job. When I got the news of him being in the hospital, it certainly was a shocker to me. I told his wife, I said, "Please don't take it bad, but I will not be able to visit Fitzroy in the hospital." And I explained to her the reason why. And one of the reasons was simply because I watched my mom in hospital for many weeks. And at this time, I don't want to go to hospital to see nobody, because it brings back memory of her to me. And the wife was able to understand my reasoning. Nonetheless, I was in constant dialogue with her, as well as other doctors, to see what, if anything, could have been done to save Fitzroy. And I was told that due to the severity of his illness, that there was little to nothing that could have been done. We just have to pray. And so we prayed. But at the end of the day, God took him home. And who are we to question him? He knows best.
And as support keeps pouring in, the family and the department are preparing to lay Yearwood to rest.
We will see the good messages that will be coming to us from the Lord through Fitzroy. He will remain in our hearts, in our minds, for many, many, many years to come. And we will always honor and cherish the memories we have of him. And certainly we do hope that his soul rests in perfect peace as he sleeps on.
Yearwood succumbed to a stroke condition that deteriorated his health at age 47. ASP Yearwood's death brings to light the many barriers that officers face while in the force. Barriers that could cause stress, especially when officers find themselves working with limited resources and extra hours due to lack of manpower. While the severity of health conditions faced by officers often go unnoticed, it does catch up, and the reality of the situation is that recently we have seen a trend when it comes to cops passing away due to deteriorating health conditions.
We're seeing a trend where many of our young officers are dying to diabetes, hypertension, and obesity. And I also stressed to them in my message this morning to ensure that if it is they are suffering from any of these illnesses, that they take their medication as prescribed by the doctor. Many a times we have these officers who are suffering from these chronic diseases, and they don't take the medication because they might be feeling well. And my thing to them was not to take nothing for granted. Even if you're feeling well, please take the medication, because something can change drastically within a matter of seconds. And that medication is what you're going to need to save you. I also touched on the issue of healthy living, meaning ensuring that they take at least half an hour every morning to work out. Staying in physical condition is important, especially since, like you said, Jules, we have a very high-stress job and bad eating habits. Many a times I find police officers at these different fried chicken spots, buying fried chicken morning, noon, and night. That's what they eat all day, every day. It is not healthy. I myself, I am happy that I do not suffer from any of those type of illnesses, but I do have my stomach issue, and sometimes I have difficulty finding something healthy to eat, because I still try to maintain a healthy diet, and I do make sure every morning I do my hour and a half workout before I go to work, just to make sure I stay in good physical condition. And again, it's what we must do. It's high stress. The hours might be difficult, but we must find the time. It is going to be the determining factor as to whether we continue to live or we die.
100 school kids from across Orange Walk Town today received a free haircut as part of a community involvement initiative launched by the Orange Walk Town Council and Orange Walk Central Area Representative Prime Minister John Briceño. The initiative hosted today at the Central Park saw 3 local barbers and a beautician volunteered their time to give free haircuts to students of all ages just before return to classes on Monday.
Let me start off by bigging up the barbers that are here today. I have it on paper, so I'll make sure I get the name right. We have Elvis No, Josette Banner, Yale Ayuso, and Dennis Tosh. These are the people that came out. We had invited a couple more barbers to come out, but they took their personal time to come out to give something to the kids and the youth heading back to school on Monday. Again, this initiative is between the Town Council and the Central Executive members and the Central crew, knowing that we wanted to participate to do something to give back. And we sat in the office together along with Alan and the rest of the council, decided that we're going to do something for the youth before they head back to school. And there we go. We're a little about 100 kids out there today, and that includes both male and female. So it's and these initiatives goes far. You know, for a fact that when you go to a barber shop, you know, the parents are kind of little thinking about it, because it's about $15 to $10 for a haircut right now. These guys are taking their personal time. On a whole, we wish we could have done more kids, but it takes time. And like I said, so I started out by mentioning these barbers that came out here to spend some of their personal time, you know, totally forgetting all what they're doing and giving back to the community.
Through its collaboration with Prime Minister Briceño and the Orange Walk Central Committee, Mayor Ladrick Shepherd says the hope is to extend the free haircut program to more children across the municipality.
I always use the example of how I work along with the Prime Minister closely, and that's the reason why it reflects back on the community you have in Orange Walk. I must say that we have great people right here, especially these barbers that came out. There are some other ones that couldn't make it out here, but I'm quite sure that if I call on them tomorrow, these guys will show up immediately and say, you know, Mayor, we want to work along with you, we want to give back to the community. But that's the way how we are in Orange Walk. It's a loving community, and we have good people that wants to give back. And the benefit is for the same little kids that wants to go back and looking shine and beautiful heading back to school. Me myself need a little haircut, but let me see, these guys are kind of a little tired, or else I would stay back and get my hair cut immediately. So that, and I'm quite sure I'll be leaving happy, just like all these other kids that came out to enjoy themselves.
Belize will turn 42 in the month of September since obtaining its independence back in 1981. The news tonight is that the National Celebrations Commission is already accepting submissions for this year's theme. The selected winner will take home $1,000. Today we were able to speak to the director of the Institute of Creative Arts, Kim Vasquez, who told us more about the competition.
So we know that the deadline is approaching. The deadline is the 21st of April. And we do have submissions that are coming in. They've been coming in steadily, but we want to see much more. We want to see a cross-section of Belizean society engaged. We want everybody to take an interest in helping us to select and to formulate the theme for this year's September celebrations. This is a source of national pride. This is a way for you to become a part of history. But we want that participation. We want to see students engage. We want to see older people engage. Everyone. To me, it's something that corporations and companies can get together as a staff and work on a submission as well. It can be a family submission, so everyone really should be thinking, what is it that speaks to our values? Think about our history, our cultural richness, our heritage. What are our values? What are our Belizean values, for example? These are some ideas you want to be brainstorming as you're thinking of putting together your theme submission. We know that the main criteria is that the theme should not be more than 10 words. But again, you're free to come up with multiple entries, and you can, like I said, make suggestions that really speak to what it is to be a Belizean. And of course, we look forward to something that is celebratory, that, as I said, speaks to our cultural heritage and our Belizean values. The prize is $1,000, but it's much more than that. You get to be a part of history. You get to be a part of selecting that theme that will, be a part of the celebrations for this year.
Applications are available on the Belize National Celebration Commission Facebook page. You have until the 21st of April 2023 to submit your application, and the good news is that you can submit more than one theme. To reach the Commission for queries for more information, you can write them at nationalcelebrations@nichbelize.org or pr@moecst.gov.bz. As we told you last night, the Farmers of the Year have been announced by the Ministry of Agriculture, Food Security and Enterprise, and they hail from the Toledo, Belize, and Corozal district. Winner of the title Senior Farmer of the Year is Adrian Bartley from the Belize district, while Woman Farmer of the Year was bestowed to Esmeralda Stanley from Toledo district. Taking center stage with the title Junior Farmer of the Year is Corozal's very own Axel Perez, who hails from Cristoray village. In a prepared clip from the ministry, Axel Perez is featured, and we wanted to highlight his story that led him to secure in 2023 Junior Farmer of the Year at the National Agriculture Trade Show.
My name is Axel Perez. I am from the village of Cristo Rey in the Corozal district. As a young farmer, I produce carrots, cabbages, sweet peppers, tomatoes, and onions. I produce about 8,000 cabbage plants, 2,000 tomatoes, and 2,000 sweet peppers. Carrots and onions I count by acre.
Aproximadamente 2,000 plantas, chile dulce 2,000 plantas. Ya en lo que es la zanahoria y la cebolla ya.
I have a drip irrigation system. It's the most efficient system we can have around here to grow our plants. I have 3 wells. They are industrial wells where I use butane pumps. I have converted them from gasoline so they can be cheaper to operate and more efficient. I spend $30 every 2 weeks on butane gas. There are many challenges one faces daily. There are days when it rains followed by sunshine, which creates fungi and diseases. In summer, there are also many pests and insects that affect the plants. These can be more difficult to control. Okay, for example, this year your cabbages were affected. Yes, by the prices. We can say I lost about 8,000 plants due to low prices for cabbage, so we could not continue investing to save the harvest. As a young man, I want to continue my studies and pay for my education by myself. That's why I work every day to be able to fulfill a dream. I personally don't go to the market. Buyers come to me and I sell them my products. It helps me because I can spend the rest of the day at the farm attending my plants. My dream is to study agronomy, but if that is not possible, then I will try business management. All of my family are farmers. I learned this way of living from my father, and he is my motivation. To all the youth, I say don't be embarrassed or ashamed to work in the fields. It is very beautiful, and you are your own boss. You don't have to worry about when you will reach your workplace. In the fields, one enjoys life. We all have to fight to fulfill our dreams, no matter how old we are.
All winners will be highlighted at the National Agriculture and Trade Show scheduled for April 28, 29, and 30th in capital city Belmopan. This year, the show is being celebrated under the theme Innovations in Technology, Driving a Climate Resilient and Competitive Agriculture and the Food Sector. And that's the news. We invite you to join us for another newscast on Thursday, April 13th here on CTV3 and Fiesta FM 106.7. Remember that to read a text version of the news, you can visit our website at ctv3belizenews.com. You can also log on to our Facebook page for current stories at facebook.com/ctv3belizenews or our YouTube channel at ctv3newsbz. Remember to wash your hands and remain safe. From all of us here at CTV3 News, thank you for watching and listening. Good night.